listen to what the times were calling for. And April Browning, often you just make things happen, and April Browning doesn't have the microphone. And when April invited me, I said to her, you know, what topics are there? And so she wrote me this long thing on Facebook, and I said to April, you should be talking, because we all have the wisdom in us. So I just want to give a big shout out to April.
Thank you, Betsy. And I will definitely ditto that last announcement. It was certainly truer words have never been spoken. And April was largely responsible for pulling today together. And she's a wonderful friend and activist. Next, I want to introduce Richard Becker, who is a local organizer with ASPE. And I'll let him tell you what those, I always get mixed up when I try to say what the whole word is, but he's a labor organizer. He's working here in our city to really make a change for our city workers. And I will pass this on to him.
How we doing, Occupy? You know, the last time I spoke in this park, I was a college student protesting the war in Iraq, and as we speak, those troops are finally coming home. So I just wanted to recognize that. The last time I was here, the war in Iraq was still raging. It was an example of what happens when people come together, right, and criticize their government, and I think that's important to note. As Janet said, my name's Richard, and I'm an organizer with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. We're the nation's largest public sector labor union, and we have been actively organizing here in Kentucky for decades. But what I wanted to speak to you all about just briefly here today is an example of a struggle for social and economic justice taking place right here in your community right now. You know, as activists, I think we sometimes fall prey to the seductive notion that we should only address those issues that are big and sexy and make it on the nightly news. You know, things like the mortgage crisis, the bailing out of the banks, the 1%, 99% language that the media has now appropriated. But when we do that, what we forget is that there are struggles taking place in our actual communities on the local level every day. And if there's one thing that Occupy taught me, it's that when we engage on a local level with those issues, we are making our voices heard in a national conversation as well. You know, as a labor organizer, I talk every day with working people struggling to get by in these tough economic times. I'm reminded, speaking of you all here today, of a city worker here in Lexington who recently had his insurance premiums tripled by the city. And as a result, he had to take his children temporarily off of his health insurance plan.
No, you ain't talking.
This worker said to me, Richard, there is nothing harder than coming home after a long, hard day at work and having to look your child in the eye, knowing that no matter how hard you work, you're not going to be able to afford the medicine that will make him feel better. You know, as you all well know, these are stories that are happening all day, every day, across this county, across our Commonwealth, and across this country. One of the traditional seats of power, however, that has long kept the corporate barbarians at the gate has been organized labor. But now, more than ever, in city halls and state houses across the country, these worker-founded organizations are coming under increasing attack. It's not just in Ohio, it's not just in Wisconsin, it's not just in Chicago and on Wall Street in New York City. It's happening right here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. In July, after months and months of hard work and smart organizing, the 200 employees of this city's waste management division voted by an overwhelming majority to affiliate with AFSCME and form a union in their workplace. But now, there are some in leadership at City Hall just up the street who want to take away the fundamental bedrock right of these city employees to join a union if they so choose. And so if you stand with these workers and you support economic justice for the people who keep Lexington one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities of its size, I ask you to please join me in calling on the City Council and the mayor in this town to uphold the rights of city employees to freely associate with their coworkers and form a union in their workplace. With your help, and with the support of many thousands more throughout this community, we can demonstrate to this city that we will not stand idly by while regressive actions are taking place against the working families of this community. Now that waste management employees in this city have made the courageous decision to stand shoulder to shoulder against budget cuts, backdoor privatization, and to demand their right to a seat at the table with this government, other city employees are also stepping up and also organizing. We are out organizing every day, and these workers need your support. Excuse me. We ask you to sign our petition. Janet mentioned we have a petition out here today. We ask you to sign that petition. Write and call your council members. Attend your council meetings. Talk to your neighbors. And help us show this government that the people of this community support their public employees. If you want to learn more about the campaign, I encourage you to come speak with me afterwards, and I'd be more than happy to tell you more about how you can get involved to stand shoulder to shoulder with the public employees in your community. So, in closing, I want to thank each and every one of you for the work that you do on whatever issues are most important to you to make sure that we have a more peaceful and just future for everybody. Thank you, and solidarity.